Live from the internet, this is the Crystal Chronicles, your Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia podcast. Welcome to episode number 76, recorded on this November 7th, 2019. I welcome all of you listening here on Twitch tonight, all of you catching us on Video Demand on Twitch, all of you joining us on YouTube, on our various podcast services and apps. Or just streaming right off of our website at tccpodcast.com. We are recording live on Twitch right now, and we are an hour earlier than we have been because of daylight savings time here in the United States.
Aren't we an hour later?
Or an hour later. Yes, we are an hour later because we turned our clocks. Anyway, the time is different. We set our clocks an hour back, so now we are an hour ahead for you in the rest of the world. I know how confusing that must be. So thank you for joining us. Maybe some of you are going to be able to join us a little earlier or maybe a little later. I don't know. However it is. Yes, an hour later for those of you joining us internationally. If you're on daylight savings time, then it's the same time, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. I am joined,
just a lot darker.
It's very, very dark outside at my place. I am joined by my co-hosts. First, his name is Mino Spellgood. How are you doing, Mino?
Hey, Mark. Hey, Mark. Not fully recovered yet, so still a little fatigued, and I'm trying to keep the coughing on stream to a minimum, but we'll see how that goes.
Press that cough button. I am also joined by our good friend. His name is Kreese, a.k.a. Zerink. How you doing, Kreese?
Good evening, everyone. I'm doing okay.
All right. Well, I have in our welcome section, I don't know who wrote this, if Kreese or if Mino wrote this, but Mino is alive. Thank you. I know
that was me.
Yeah, we got a lot of concerns, a lot of emails, a lot of sympathy. Oh, Tolude, thank you for gifting those 5 subs. And everyone who has been gifted a sub, hey, congratulations, you've been gifted a sub. But thank you for all of you who are supporting us through Twitch Prime or Twitch subs or cheers or bits or Discord, all that kind of stuff. Thank you for your support. So yes, I'm glad Mino is alive. If you caught our post show last week, episode 75.8, you would have had seen Mino joining us back. But we do thank Arolai for joining us on the main show last week as well. And then we had a question from, because we never say anything, but we had a question from one of the listeners. What are we drinking tonight? So I am drinking raspberry lemonade Crystal Light. So refreshing, delicious, and also I have water in my backup. So Kreese, Mino, did you want to share what you're drinking tonight?
Well, I'm sick, Mark, so I'm just drinking a glass of Maker's Mark, and then I guess I'll chase that with a beer.
Gatorade. That's what you should be drinking.
Gatorade. No, isn't Gatorade a lot of sugar and salt or whatever, though?
Yeah, depending on the kind of sickness you have, that's really good for you.
And I am drinking an iced tea.
Delicious iced tea. Long Island or just regular iced tea?
Regular iced tea.
Well, is regular iced tea sweet tea for you or?
Oh, sweetened.
Oh,
I'm from the South.
Yeah, I know. That's so. For us, for us Northerners, tea is not automatically sweet tea. Some people like to drink nasty, unsweetened tea. It's terrible. I don't know why you'd want to drink it, but
I can drink unsweetened, but I prefer sweetened.
It is delicious. So, some news of the day. There's been a lot going on this week, even though there's not tons of events. There was a few updates. We did get our November calendar, so you can see the events, and that's always in blue if you look into your menu, your news menu. We did get early November Chocobo panels. That included doing missions with Leon, Rydia, Dark Knight Cecil, finding dragons, mini dragons, and the water spurtin' shenanigan guys. Yeah, Sahagins. That's the word I was looking for. And we do have some places to find those. I still think I have not finished this board. I did finish the other board, but so there's a couple things. Maybe it's the mini dragons, or it's that I'm missing. So I'm hoping Fang's LC will cover that. And I usually don't have any problems if you just kind of do the content. So that's the first half of November, then we'll get a second half. We also had maintenance, and I think most of you probably realized that we had maintenance. We did get quality of life upgrades. The World of Illusion weapons are in the weapon shop, so the power token shop. They cost 10 power tokens because they're only 15 CP weapons. And so all of the previously released World of Illusion weapons are there. You're able to buy them. They cost 10 power tokens. I bought Clouds immediately, and MLB'd it, so I have his full kit. Other ones I know that are very good. Vaughn's is very good, but he's not great right now. Bart's is very good, but again, he's not great right now. There's several others. Right now, I think Cloud is probably the most useful one, although if you're going to main Squall moving forward, that might be one to pick up as well. Anything either of you wanted to say about World of Illusion weapons?
I am probably going to get Cloud's World of Illusion weapons sooner rather than later, because the only Dispeller on the horizon that I'm going to see myself investing in is Ferris, which means that for events such as Fang's Lost Chapter coming in a week, I either need to bring a pretty heavy debuffer, or I need to have Cloud dispelling the buffs, because those guys can be nasty. The other ones are all nice to have. I only have a couple of them from polls in the past, but I would suggest everyone consider their Power Stone and Power Token supplies before they go crazy trying to buy them all up.
Yeah, if you're not familiar with what the World of Illusion weapons were, originally when the summons came, so like when Afreet originally came and we were able to get him up to level 20, or Shiva, Ramu, all that kind of stuff, they generally came with a banner with a special weapon for one of the main characters that was a 15 CP weapon or their World of Illusion weapon. So a lot of the main characters have them, so you can look and see what they do. Some of them are pretty cool. Cloud's is uniquely interesting. Bart's is fairly uniquely interesting. A lot of them, there's some party auras, there's some unique aura buffs. So just check them out and see what you like. But as Kreese just said, don't be spending all of your power tokens all at once. We also got inventory increase, so hooray. So we all got a free 100 inventory, and you're able to buy up to 100 more. So if you want to max your inventory, the max inventory now would be 900 inventory slots. Something I know Mino wanted to mention is fully realized weapons and armor do not count against your inventory. They have their own inventory spot. And you can see that right from your inventory. If you go to inventory view cell, you see gear, and then you see plus weapons. So that's a completely different inventory. They do not count against your thing. For right now, you are unable to sell realized armor and realized weapons. That will change in the burst era. You will be able to sell them for nuggets, but right now you are not able to do that. Anything else you want to add on that, Mino?
No, I mean, you got it pretty much. Apparently, this was not very widely known at all. I remember I was asking JP players about it, and they had never considered, because I guess it's confusing because you see the EX Plus weapon in your inventory next to all your other weapons. So people never knew whether it actually counted towards taking up your inventory space. And I remember that was one of the things that GL was warned about early on. They're like, don't go EX plusing your dupes all willy-nilly because you're just going to end up eating up inventory slots. Well, don't worry. That's not a concern. I don't know who was actually worried about that, though, because, I mean, how many EX plus weapons are you going to have just sitting there in your inventory?
2.
I mean, the books are going to be the real limiting factor there.
Yeah.
I have 2. So we also got the wonderful, wonderful quality of life update, the summon board auto button. I've already used it because I had to grind my Charlotta and Vincent summon boards for the chaos fight tonight. It's so wonderful. You just go on, you press auto, everything is unlocked if you have all the points. Now it does prioritize treasures. So if you only have the 1800 points for the treasures, you hit it, it prioritizes treasures, and then you have to unlock them manually. And you have to unlock the actual passives manually as well. But all the other things are done automatically. It is so nice. It took you as long to just do all of those buttons, like old artifact grinding. It took you as long to enhance the artifacts than to actually, do the artifact grinding. So thank goodness for that. Now, the game also now prompts you to go home when login rewards are available. I saw this today as I logged in. It said, hey, there's new login rewards. So did you want to go? And it said yes. And I went back and logged in, and great. So it didn't usually do that. Again, you can say no if you still have some bells that you want to use. Or no, our bells don't refresh like they used to, so you don't have to worry about that. So you can go back and get your rewards. And of course, we got EX weapon and 90 CP armor, which is called HD armor realizations. And so that was a big thing. We're going to talk a lot about it, and we have been talking about it. We will talk about it, but that came in this new maintenance. With that maintenance, we also got an enhanced campaign. So this is to go in hand with our EX weapon and 90 CP armor realizations. We're going to get, we already did, 2 free books of Ruins mysteries and books of Refuge's mysteries. So 2 weapon books and 2 armor books, and one each was with data backup. So if you've already backed your data up with either Game Center or the Android equivalent, or with now the Square Enix Bridge or the Squex Bridge, you automatically got 2, one of each book, an armor book and a weapon book, and we got 1 free from the enhanced campaign. So we basically started with 2 of each book free, which is great. We also have an enhanced campaign Chocobo panel mission, part 1. So helpful. I was able to clear it today, so it's fairly easy to clear. You have to bring Cloud, Vincent, Garnet, Tidus, and beat regular Cactuars and golden Cactuars. Golden Cactuars do not count as regular Cactuars. They are different, just FYI. And if you complete all of those missions, you get another book and another ingot. So you're able to combine nuggets to make that ingot. So that's super helpful. And then I think you do get a book at the very end of that, right? That was the complete reward. Was another book or something?
No, out of all of the rewards, Mark, what happens is that you get enough materials to craft 2 books, one for weapons, 1 for armor, and get 1 ingot for weapons, 1 ingot for armor.
Got it.
The last reward is tickets.
So we are starting out with quite a few books and at least a little bit of nuggets for your ingots. The problem is, of course, we don't have that many EX weapons right now, but you can realize all of your armor. So that is a situation. So I have a note here that we have less resources than JP. Did one of you want to take that? What that was about and go with that?
Sure. I'll do the recap because I did the research. Basically, as soon as Chaos hit GL, we were getting some different reports because a lot of JP players were saying, "Oh, can't you just 3/3 Cloud and blow through it?" And apparently, far ends of the dimension beta. I guess we'll go into all of this in a lot of detail tonight. But basically, when Chaos dropped in JP, it dropped on Anniversary, and they also got a format called Far Ends of the Dimension Beta, and it was a beta, so it makes sense that they're not releasing a beta in GL because they already did it in JP. No need to run the beta twice. But apparently their beta came with 2 Chaos stages. So it was a Heretic style just like this, except it was meant to be a permanent Heretic style. It launched with 4 Cosmos stages and 2 Chaos stages. The thing is that clearing those Chaos stages, or I think it's clearing it gets you an ingot. I know that each Chaos stage got you a total of 2 ingots. So 40 nuggets for 2 ingots. I don't know if you get that extra 20 nuggets from the complete, but basically they had a total of 3 more ingots available than GL does. So they had a lot more resources to work with, especially since they could gem revive or just reach the finish line and get a whole new ingot. Whereas right now with our chaos event, if you wanted to do that and just gem revive to finish, you get 5 nuggets, which really doesn't help you. So it's not worth the gems to do it. They also had a Twitter campaign where they got 3 more blue books or armor books and 2 more red books. So they had the ability to 3-3 both Cloud and Vincent off the bat if they needed to.
But
we'll get. Go ahead.
I didn't think they had they didn't get the Chocobo panel missions. I thought
They got the Chocobo panel missions, but they didn't get their Chocobo missions. Didn't have the nuggets on it. So we got an extra ingot from the nuggets, but they got 4 ingots from
the betas.
FEOD Beta.
Yeah, from the betas.
So they came out 3 ahead of us. Yes.
Yeah, okay, good.
I think this might be a timing thing too. I'm strongly suspecting that for Global, they decided not to overload us with too much craziness, chaos difficulty stuff at the start. Yeah. And I'm suspecting what we're going to see is a new Abyss Beta strata next maintenance cycle that's going to add those chaos stages and those ingot rewards that Japan got in their FEOD missions.
I didn't have time to check.
But there's no way to know for certain.
Right. I didn't have time to check, but I think some people on our Discord were saying that Josh said on stream that there was an event coming on the 25th that'll give us more resources. If anyone can confirm, that's just something I heard.
The 25th is Deuce event.
Oh, okay.
That will give us more resources.
Well, then I guess the theory is that we'll get the resources compensated to us at some point. Everyone's saying through Abyss maybe, but the point is it looks like FEOD beta is unlikely for us, and it kind of makes sense because, again, it's a beta. Why repeat it when it's already been run once and they've collected the data they need to? Yeah. But our launch is a little rockier. But I
will mention that I don't know if Japan got 2 sets of enhanced campaign panel missions. We do have another set coming up that will likely give us another of each book and each ingot if it's going to be reflecting what we got here. So there are resources coming later this month.
Good. I also have a PSA. EX characters are not boosted, so someone's going to have to pick up. I don't know what that means.
Wait, sorry, I missed Crease.
I think Mino's talking about FEOD. I don't know.
You have in the notes PSA EX Plus characters are not boosted.
That's late. I saw this great Reddit post and it was being talked about on our Discord saying, "Hey guys, with the dawn of all the EX Plus era and Chaos and all these characters getting EX Plus, please remember they're not actually boosted characters, so please don't bring them into the boosted only co-op rooms for what's her name? Charlotta." Right. And then we had people posting screenshots of a bunch of Cloud EXs, EX Pluses in the Charlotta co-op already.
I was going to say it was a little confusing to me because they are boosted in the current event. So in the current Heretic co-ops, they are actually boosted.
But yes, PSA community, EX Plus does not equal boosted. I see the post every month.
Yeah.
Boosted. And a lot of new players are like, oh, okay, I didn't realize what boosted means.
Yep.
It's worth putting out there.
Boosted characters are characters that have that flashing background on their icons when you bring them to a certain event. They are characters that have improved stats for that event only.
Every 5 or 6 episodes, we have to remind people that what boosted are, because that is a constant source of soreness in co-op in our community. Boosted only means boosted or synergy for the event. We did get a couple costumes. Cloud costume is back. Sadly, no NT weapon with that bundle. In the NT
I'm just going to say I'm glad I
picked
up the bundle that did have it because it has never been rerun.
Yeah, and that's a shame. That's for sure. Also, we got the Garnet White Mage robe costume, which is basically just her in a robe. So if you are disliking looking at her from behind, you can put a robe on her. and not have to see her butt. So,
just for clarification, this is the white mage robe that Garnet wears at the beginning of Final Fantasy IX during the escape sequence from Alexandria.
Oh, beautiful.
They basically made a costume of that.
Yeah, no, and it's real nice. The sprite is literally just she's wearing the robe. They didn't change anything else. So
I will also note that the costume does not make Garnet any better. She's still really bad.
I can attest for that because I did use her through all of the level 90s in Heretic.
I did too, Mark. She was not good for
it. She did not do much for that. The 14,000 damage she did was not, with her abilities, was not dealing the 50,000 damage Vincent and Cloud were doing with their HP pluses. So yeah, it was a little tough. We also got our Portal campaign rewards today. So hooray! So you got free loot from the Portal campaign, and we thank you all for checking into Portal. And next time we have a Portal campaign, we'll let you know, and you can go and play Triple Triad till you're blue in the face, or check news and all that kind of stuff. So moving on to events, last week during episode 75, Charlotta's event hit. After the show, we did pull, and we all got Charlotta. I think everybody got Charlotta. And we did discuss her on the show last week, but we didn't really get a chance to talk about her with practical use, and we didn't talk about the Cosmos boss, although I know chaos is the thing on everybody's mind. But Chris, Mino, did you want to share any insights from actually using Charlotta, how she plays, how you found her kit, etc.?
Chris, I'm sure you have a lot more insight than I am. I'm going to say right now that for the moment, I don't enjoy using her. And I'll talk about how her as a friend unit, but Chris, did you want to cover any more basic points before that?
I'm just going to step in and say Ink actually commented after the show last week that I did not touch on characters that might work well with her, or characters she might not work well with. And honestly, that's fair. I didn't want to do anything without practical hands-on experience. And my opinion after a week of playing with her is that she works really well in almost every situation, because she is so independent of damage types or enemy damage types and damage immunities. She really doesn't care if enemies ignore or resist magic, because she doesn't do a lot of magic damage. She's mostly generating Brave through Brave batteries for the party, and she just multiplies the damage done by other characters, along with providing some nice buffs. I've been having fun using her. I used her to get through the Chaos event, despite the fact that the boss resisted magic, so I think that stands to show that she is pretty strong right now.
Yeah, I used her as well in the Chaos event, and yeah, the boss does resist the throw staff, but she does so much Brave battery, so many free turns, the bonus damage. It's nice. It's nice. Mino, you're not impressed. You're not enjoying Charlotta.
It's not my playstyle, I guess. I mean, it's very straightforward. It's very bursty. I don't think she's built for longevity at all, and that's fine. And there might come a time where she will be a rising star for sure. But this event, this chaos, I didn't need to use her, and I preferred not to. We'll talk about it when we get to the event. But I used Ramza instead as in my support slot, and that worked. That was a lot of fun for me and worked better for me. But I know a lot of people are bringing Charlotta friends and they're using Charlotta. And again, like they're like, oh, well, Charlotta friend has a huge amount of burst. And I don't know, I experimented. It feels like a 3/3 EX plus Cloud or a Dark Cecil even as a friend works a lot better. Like way more damage in the long run. And I think going forward, there's a lot of track record of a lot of Clouds and Decils working as well. We'll see how it goes. Like I said, it's definitely a personal preference thing. A lot of people are using her to a great effect. I think a lot of people are crediting Chaos completes with her, but I just don't like her style, honestly.
Yeah, well, that's fair. The Cosmos fight was just one enemy, and it was the Spineclad, kind of a dragon type monster that was weak to water. and died pretty easily. Is there anything else we need to say about that? That poor SOB.
Charlotta definitely had a strong presence. Charlotta's been a very hyped character for a very long time. A lot of people pulled on her, so she more than doubled the presence of any other character in the video submitted to the Call to Arms thread.
Yeah.
Quistis was by far the most popular friend unit, which makes sense. Single target boss, you just delay it to eternity. I think for my purposes, I ran a team of Charlotta, Vayne, and Lightning, and just did my own mini delay chain that way, and that was more than enough to keep the boss from taking a single turn.
I let the boss have turns. Who did I brought some weird team here? I brought Pain, Afmaw, and Charlotta for that for some reason. Yeah, it was fine. Whatever. I'm sure the Call to Arms is up there. Macnol's Call to Arms, MACNOL, on Reddit. Check out the Call to Arms. We do index that in our show notes so you can see all of the Call to Arms and whatever one's most recent. Then you can check out that videos that might help you if you are struggling with the Cosmos. Probably not.
Although you could probably just now bring a EX plus 3/3 Cloud friend and blow up the boss within the friend window because he just does so much damage.
Yeah.
Keimhart brings up a great point on Twitch. I hated Charlotta's co-op event. That was one of the ones...
you want to know what I did for that, Mino? I started bringing Rydia and letting the Charlottas just take all the turns they wanted.
No, I did the same thing.
And I just stopped paying attention.
I did the same thing. I brought Leon and spammed skill 1, and I only had to do it like 2 or 3 times a fight. But the point is, like, I got what I needed. I cleaned out the shop and pieced out so fast because it is triggering for so many reasons. Probably adds to my bias against Charlotta. But first of all, I don't think people understand that skill 2 batteries, because a lot of people will skill 1 until everyone is max brave. I'm talking about everyone. I've seen people, like, there'll be 2 people at max brave, 1 person's not capped, and the Charlotta will skill 1 again. And then they'll skill 2. And then to make it even worse, there have been too many times to count where the Charlotta is ready for the kill. She will literally use all of her skills. So she'll have, like, say, 5 skill 1s left, use all of that, then the EX, and then skill 2. And just waste so much of my time, and I hate everybody. It's already bad enough when people EX with the long animations for the final kill when they can just HP attack, but the Charlottas love emptying all of their skills for no reason. I hate it.
Good thing a lot of the early EX Plus characters have relatively short EX to rate animations.
Well, that does bring us to the topic of the hour, and that is Awakening Wave 4, which brought us, 6 new level 70/70s, 6 new additional abilities, but our first 2 EX realizations. So we're going to talk about...
I will say that before we get into this, it's really only 3 characters that are worth discussing. We will mention the awakenings for the other 3, but you're probably not going to be using them or even considering them for any serious content.
Yes, if your hopes were set on level 70 Garnet being great, we are sorry. Or level 70 Yang, or level 70. At least Cypher can clear mobs. Garnet's one of my favorite characters, so I'm not hating on Garnet. I have her EX, I have her full kit, I love her to death. I have her costume. Oh, but yeah, she's rough. Anyway, let's talk about the characters, and we're going to start with Dark Knight Cecil, and Mino's going to take that. So go ahead, Mino. Tell us about Dark Knight Cecil. What did he get?
All right, so I hope I don't take up too much time, but I feel like Dessel got some of the biggest rework in this banner. I think maybe Vincent's got a lot too, but
no, Cecil got a bigger rework.
Oh, for sure. So Dessel, let me try to skim through the kit really quick. Extra ability uses. Sorry, do you guys hear that in the background?
Do you have a dog?
Yeah, puppy's bugging the crap out of me right now. Edit this out, Pierre. Anyways, so extra ability uses, extra hits, extra potencies, overflow on all the abilities as well. So now what happens is he gains a unique framed buff using any of his abilities. Once he drops under 50% HP, they become plus abilities, and if you use the plus abilities, he gains two unique framed buffs, the original and a new one. And so Darkness gains a single HP after the AoE Brave hit, which is great. You use it for the max Brave up. And the skill 2 is the launch now batteries everyone based on HP damage done as well, which is huge. It's like a new era Lael, basically, a little more potent because he works well with batteries. You can battery Dessel up, launch, and then
I
I
think
mean
Cecil actually does damage on his own. Lael's really dependent on those launches.
that's very fair. Yeah, I mean it's just amazing. Like Dessel is the go-to launcher for a while. If you really liked launch strategy. Back then, it was a necessity if you wanted to bypass mechanics and didn't want to deal with the fight. Now you can't really cheese fights with launch anymore, but it has all the advantages you remember. You know, like bigger score, an extra HP done, some turn efficiency, and charging your summon up faster. I've seen it in co-ops, like Dessel can carry that. Dessel's carrying this chaos event. People are saying him and Cloud 3-3 can carry like underperforming characters, and it's just extremely strong. Now, what is even more unique than the usual buffs to his kit is that he now has an entirely different mechanic that he works around, which is with some tweaks, he now has a last stand that activates as long as he's has 20% of his max HP. I think before it was 50%, which was
40% was what it
40%.
was.
Okay. 20% now, much better. But now he's also gained the ability to heal himself as well. So we talked about the framed buffs he gets. He gets two unique buffs. The first one that activates no matter what ability you use is a generic buff, like less brave damage taken, more attack, more max brave. The second one, when you use the plus ability, so when you use an ability when he's under 50% HP, it grants him a brave regen, which is really nice. But then what it also does is it changes his brave attack and HP attack to brave plus plus, HP plus plus, each that heal him. Brave plus plus you can use as long as the buff is up, and it heals him for about 5% HP if you want to slow heal as well. HP plus plus expends the second unique buff, but it heals him for a maximum of 20% HP, meaning he can effectively stay immortal as long as you are careful with his rotation and aware of the enemy patterns. Because no matter how low he dips, you just need to HP plus plus when you see he's being targeted by an enemy. He'll shoot above the 20% threshold and he won't die. He'll just get hit back to 1. You charge it up again, you can heal right back to 20%, and he will just stay alive and eat HP attacks all day without the need for a healer. They also increase the potency of his damage the lower the HP he is. They increase the effects of, here we go. Several characters had danger attack up. So it used to be when their HP was below 20%, their attack would increase by 20%. Now that threshold's been 50% HP. So Galuf, Dessel, Setzer, and Ash, once they drop under 50% HP, they get a significant boost. And this isn't even accounting for Dessel's plus abilities, which is really strong. So to to veer off a little bit, because I always like comparing these kits to the MMO FFs, which I think perfected a lot of it. Dessel plays exactly like an FF11 Dark Knight for any fans of that series, where they spent their HP to do massive amounts of damage, and now he has a complete kit and then they used to lifesteal to build it back up so they could spend it again, and that's what Dessel does now. Spends a lot of HP, has the ability to heal himself back up to do it all over again. And then, of course, the whole last stand of extending your life a little bit, all in the kit. I think is a really interesting character. I've seen a lot of mixed discussion on on him in the communities because people are like, oh, well, he doesn't have an EX plus. How effective is he going to be? You know, you don't see people talking about him in Chaos too often. But I do remember anecdotally people say that he is one of the best supports for Chaos for quite a few months. People were using him up to the CPU raid, which is about 3 months or so off from now. Because apparently it's like a Lail support, right? Except with on-demand launches. You call them out, you can spam the launches. I think you do just all 5 turns launches with the huge battery on top of that. It's just massive, massive burst damage. I think he's really good for that. And people have reported him doing odd chaos clears here and there. Uh, I got 6-7 confirmed chaos clears with Dark Cecil on their release. So it's not like he's going backwards and being carried by heavier characters. But for example, Dessel has Garland chaos clears, which is coming up. He has CPU raid clears. He has several clears. I think Kreese was saying that he might be useful for Fang chaos.
I don't
And
know what Fang chaos immunities and absorbs are, but we'll see when we get that on Saturday or Sunday.
right. So, I mean, I think he's a fantastic budget character. He's the last budget character, the last one getting a huge rework without an EX plus. I think he's extremely useful, to be honest. People say that there's lots of videos out there of him cheesing attacks with lots and lots of HP attacks. For example, Bosch's event is another one he shined in because Bosch's gimmick was absorbing an AoE HP attack onto himself and reducing the amount of HP damage you took. So, of course, his event meant there are several enemies spamming AoE HP attacks. And Dessel just shines because, again, he just needs to stay above 20%. He requires no healer, and he can still pump out the damage as long as you have big fat auras coming out. And in the near horizon, we have Rosa EX Plus and Sarah EX Plus coming up. So I think he's very good. I'm not going to recommend him as meta, clearly, but I think he's very solid. We have a lot of permanent Heretic Styles events coming up. And if nothing else, I think he's a fantastic, fantastic friend unit. I'm getting messages saying to make sure to mention, a lot of people think Dessel is high risk because he lowers his HP so much, he can die at a drop of the hat. But again, whenever he's being targeted, he just needs the HP plus. Boom, he's immortal. He's safe. He cannot die unless he gets hit twice in a row by HP attacks, which is very unlikely. So that's my endorsement for Dessel. I really wish I had his EX because I'm watching other built Dessels in co-ops. And in Chaos, he really needs it for that longevity. I used to think it was crap because, you know, in the old fights when it debuted, you got to shoot it off like once, maybe, not even. In this co-op alone, the Cosmos co-op, I see it go off 5-6 times and they just never run out of skills. And I really think everyone should build a Dessel friend and then add me so I can use Dessels for upcoming Chaoses.
You've convinced
You guys
me
have
that
any thoughts?
you've convinced me that you should pull for him, his EX. So why don't you do that on stream while we talk about these other characters who are much better than him?
Oh, wow, sick bird.
Rude.
I honestly think that Cecil made out an amazingly well from this Awakening wave. Regretfully, as I mentioned to my co-hosts earlier today when we were preparing, I only have Cecil's 15 CP and his mannequin weapons, so I cannot use him. Even without his weapon passives, he was still doing great damage with his mannequin weapon, but it was obvious that he was lagging behind when I experimented with him to clear out Chocobo mission panel rewards.
Oh, sorry. Chad is reminding me that Dessel's AA is a 3-hit Brave plus HP attack that reduces his HP by 50%. So basically, it's just another tool to manipulate his HP into the optimal range that you want. At any time you do a big hit, like if you overheal yourself, you can lower yourself again, or from off the bat, you can AA and drop low enough to start getting him going. So he has a lot of tools to manipulate his HP, and I think it's a very fun character.
Okay, before we move on to the 2 characters that got weapon realization, I just want to do a quick shout out to the Tonberry troop, who this week released new infographics for the weapon realization era, where they highlight the characters in a way they have not done before. I think all three of us co-hosts are in agreement that these infographics are amazing. And if you are interested in seeing them, you should look on Reddit or in our Discord for links to those infographics so you can find more info. I asked Inkwelder ahead of time if he wanted any special shout outs for this, and because he's not on right now. He said he wants to shout out Dreamy, who joined the Tomberry Troop a few months ago for his graphical prowess that redesigned the images. Talut and Vane Novus, who are assisting with the creation process, and also the kind Japanese players that have been assisting him with the analysis portions of the graphics.
Thank you. And yeah, do check out the I have the link to the album of all of the infographics on our show notes, so you'll be able to see those if you look, or just go to our website. You can check out the show notes, or on our Discord we have that linked as well. They are very, very good. Dreamy's been working on the backgrounds and the revamped look of the EX realization era of infographics, and they're very beautiful. So that does bring us to our first character with an EX realization, and his name is Cloud. You may know him from Final Fantasy VII. He's one of those characters that keeps coming back into fame. He started off very strong because he had an HP plus Brave attack. Then he got a level 60 Awakening, and then he got a EX weapon, or however that worked. I think he got the EX and the 60 at the same time. And now he is back again with a level 70 Awakening and an EX realization. Cloud did not get a rework. So if you're familiar with Cloud's kit, he has the finishing touch, which launches. He has that guaranteed paralyze. He has HP damage. He has a great HP plus attack. His kit's still the same. He didn't have any changes. But he did get a level 70.
Mark.
Yes?
Sorry, let me cut. Quick correction. People were pointing out in chat. Sorry, Dessel's AA is just a 3-hit Brave attack. My bad. And then it gives him an attack boost to set him up for his launch. So my mistake. It is not a free Brave plus HP. It's a Brave attack that lowers his HP by 50%. Sorry, continue.
Yep, no, thank you. Cloud did not get a rework. He did get a level 70 and some buffs with that, and he got a EX realization. So let me just start with his AA, which is actually quite good. If you want to run Cloud, definitely level 70 him. His AA is called Critical Crush. It is a 3-hit Brave plus HP attack, which gives him 2 turns initially of a Brave boost to himself. Eventually it does, if you bloom him and C70 him, passive 70 him, it does give him additional boost and extends that to 4 turns. So his AA is a free attack, so he gets 2 free additional attacks, and it does hit pretty well. It's doing decent damage. Probably a little bit less than
I will echo that
Slash,
sentiment.
good
Cloud's
damage.
AA does a lot of damage.
See, I don't know if it's synergy bias because, again, I never have time to run these outside of synergy before the show. But it hits hard, and I don't know if this is a good idea because obviously it does more damage on crit, right? So when I was running the chaos, I kept trying to wait for the enemy to be broken, but I think I should not be afraid and sometimes just break the enemy with it. But I think it almost caps in synergy for me, and I have 3 108s.
It's capping for me.
Really?
Yeah, it was capping for me in Chaos with my setup of Warrior of Light and Charlotta in the team.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And it does give him that Max Brave boost, so he can have 8 total turns of that additional Max Brave, which is going to help a lot. So that's that. The other big thing that he got, and believe me, it does make a difference, is his EX realization. So if you book his EX, use whatever the Book of Mysteries is called, if you use the weapon book on his EX weapon, and that was really one of his downfalls, right? Is his EX weapon was the very first EX weapon, that and Charlotta, or that and Shantoto, the very first EX weapons. It was just not very powerful. It had a fairly low potency. Now, when it came out, it was amazing, but it was the first, and so it's been,
Actually, Mark, Still has an amazing
No,
potency.
it
The
does
problem
have,
is
yeah.
it had no brave overflow.
It had no brave overflow. Thank you for that clarification. Yes.
I mean, the region was great. It conquered content for about a month
Oh, yeah.
before the drop off, and I think it's the same here. EX plus 3.3 will make content for the first month significantly easier, but then there's a sharp drop off. But then again, everyone says the first month is the roughest month. So, take that as you will.
And that's the case with everything, I think. So that's okay. But that was definitely hampering him. His EX was not doing that overflow damage, and so that's why he kind of fell out of Cosmos. Now, if you just give him a book and realize his EX with no ingots, he's probably really good at Cosmos level difficulty and even in Chaos level difficulty with some support. His just base realization is 180% overflow. So he's now doing much better damage. But now it starts to get a little bit interesting as you continue to realize it. With one limit break, he starts the quest with his unique Mako buff, and Meteor Rain does 50% bonus critical damage on a critical hit, does extra damage. With 2 MLBs, it gives him an attack 40% and an embrace 40%, period. Those are just static increases. So his stats become much, much better. And with a full limit broke realized EX, his EX ability, Meteor Rain, actually does 2 hits and 200% overflow. Now that I've had a chance to co-op, so we currently have a Cosmos co-op, which is one of the nicest Cosmos co-ops we've had. Even though it's fairly long, you can do it with 3 clouds pretty easily. The difference between a MLB'd realized EX cloud and a non-MLB'd realized EX cloud is the 0 limit break realized EX cloud is doing about 60,000 damage, where the fully limit broke realized EX cloud is doing over 100,000 or 100,000 damage and then 60,000 damage. So I mean, it is a considerable upgrade, and especially if they have those bonus stats. So you definitely, if you want to run with Cloud, and you're not going to invest your ingots in other characters this month, or at least not more than 2 other characters this month. You definitely want him at 3/3. He is doing a lot of damage. Mine is fully purple, both armor and weapon. The other thing I will say about Cloud, I think everybody knows he's great. He's wonderful. The other thing about Cloud is he has a lot of gear. And so if you really want to make the best use of him, remember, he does have a 15 and 35 and EX weapon, just like everybody else. He also has a World of Illusion weapon, which acts as a dispel ability, which is really nice. It dispels every time he has a crit single buff. He has a mannequin weapon, which gives him a little boost to his 2 abilities. And he has that NT Buster Sword, which gives him an additional mighty for each of his abilities. So if you have all of those passive and all of that gear, he is doing a lot of damage. Now, I don't think you need the mannequin weapon and the NT weapon as much, but again, it's just an additional boost to both of those main abilities. It's not an additional boost to his EX, though, so it's not helping you there, but it's helping with his main abilities. So, he's great. Who does he work with? I guess we didn't like play style, he plays exactly the same way he played before. So if you're not familiar with that, he starts with his Mako boost, but he doesn't start with his other buffs. You can get his other buffs up with the finishing touch. And then as soon as he uses finishing touch, he gets an automatic paralyze. So every time he uses finishing touch, he has a paralyze that's automatically hit. And then his HP plus is just an amazing attack, and his AA is an amazing attack. And and every time his EX is active, you use it. I mean, he's not the hardest character to play. I did not even run out of abilities, I think, in this chaos fight. And his EX is on a normal charge rate, so it does do pretty good. But yeah, anybody who can buff him, give him auras, battery, so his HP plus is more useful, Remember, he is DPS, but he's also utility DPS, so he's going to have trouble and not be as useful if he's going against bosses that are resistant to paralyze, for example. But right now, Charlotta, Warrior of Light, those are both great options for him. Dark Knight Cecil and him probably synergize fairly well. Vincent and him synergize fairly well, so I'm not sure who else you're using, but I'm not sure anybody off the top of my head who he wouldn't work great with. I mean, he's kind of a utility DPS, so
I really like him with in Brave buffers like Warrior of Light and Aftermath, because with the Mako buff and
yeah,
increase in Brave, holy crap, is he regenning like 2/3 of his max Brave
yeah,
every turn?
he
Like,
does
I think
regen a lot. Yes.
yeah, that's my preference. I
The
Brave buffers.
yeah,
That's my preference.
the Mako buff from Meteor Rain, which he starts with if you have his EX realized one limit break, is 150% of his I Brave. So and then he gets a max Brave boost on top of that. So Mino's right, he does Brave regen a ton. And so you can just you don't even have to use finishing touch or cross slash. You can use his HP plus, although you need to use cross slash to use his HP plus, I believe, to get that active first. So one of each of his abilities, and then moving into Meteor Rain and moving into HP plus, and yeah, he's doing tons of stuff. So yeah, anything else about Cloud? It's great.
A couple of things I want to quickly mention is that a reminder, if you decide to invest in Cloud's World of Illusion weapon, remember that he has to critically hit with one of his command abilities.
Yeah.
Brave plus and HP plus will not count in order to get the Dispel. He can, however, dispel one buff from multiple targets using Meteor Rain. So that is a possibility. But he can only dispel one buff per ability use, and he has to use a command ability. Second thing is that I think Cloud's weapon realization is a really strong indicator of the power of each limit break of a realized weapon. Basically, every step of Cloud's weapon realization process makes him that much stronger. With maybe the weak hiccup being the first limit break. But really, going to just weapon realize 0 LB makes Meteor Rain an actually useful ability to press again, other than to refresh Mako. 2 LB gives him such a huge boost to his attack and max Brave stats. I underestimated how strong they would be. They turned him into a much harder hitter and made it so they could complete the Chaos event. And the 3 LB turns his EX ability into basically an I win button for a little while.
A solo rogue on Twitch is saying, I thought they changed the Dispel ability to include HP plus. I don't have a yes or no on that. So we can look into that and make sure, because that would be much more helpful. Although it's
please,
not
if anyone
it's not a guaranteed hit
confirm
with
that,
his, guaranteed critical with his HP plus. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. So, Chris, did you have more?
That was all I had to say on that.
Well, let's.
Okay, and I just.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I had some stuff to add to what Chris said, because we were discussing the whole how much he gets for each LB step. I was saying, yeah, Cloud seems like a great character to introduce EX plus, to kind of introduce that concept of how much characters can get, like how much one ingot can make a difference for a lot of characters. Because I pulled some people, and it seems like, so with a 1-3 Cloud, I was getting 84, 85 turns on the Chaos, and I couldn't complete because of the turn count. And then the only thing I changed was I ingoted it once more to 2-3, and suddenly I got in 76 turns. So that one jump from 1-3 to 2-3 shaved off 8 or so turns for me. And then I had somebody else in a similar situation go 3-3, and they did it in 65 turns. So it seems like, well, it's a synergy event for him, but each ingot shaved off 10 turns from the Chaos for a lot of people, pretty much. That is a significant power boost. It is very ridiculous.
One last thing I wanted to mention. I was going to talk about this when we got to the Chaos fight, but since we are spending so much time talking about how good Cloud is, for those of you who are having trouble clearing the Chaos and you thought you were going to skip Cloud, but now you're reconsidering it, be patient. Remember that there are a lot more weapon realizations coming in the next week, week and a half. And if you are planning to invest in any of those characters, you can bring them back and possibly make up that turn count or that difficulty that you are having trouble getting over. So do not feel like you have to rush out to limit Break Cloud. He's strong, but he is not going to be the only reason people get through this chaos fight.
Great point. I was gonna say I wanted to add on to that too, that Cloud EX Plus, in my opinion, is just it eases the transition into chaos. As we said, for all Cloud buffs for all of DFFOO's lifetime, it is very effective for a month because he's always usually the first, and then it's a sharp drop off. So there are a lot of meta chasers who want really long longevity on their investments. I don't think Cloud is a really like an amazing investment, but I personally wanted to do it because I knew it would make that first month that much easier. And he's a main character, so he's always going to get something. And I know that one of the complaints with burst weapons coming to JP is these main characters require so much investment. Cloud has 6 weapons to max, 7 if you count EX Plus as a separate weapon, just to taper off a month later. So it's very understandable if you don't want to do it. And as we'll get to, a lot of people were saying in chat, do you need his EX Plus 3-3 to do this chaos? No, a lot of people are putting up a lot of different comps. So he is 100% not necessary. Kreese and I did it with 2-3. And then some people were just bringing a 3-3 friend. And some people were just bringing Dessel instead. So not necessary by a long shot.
But pretty cool. So yeah, just to clarify, GRWA18 asked if as long as you're attacking a broken target, it's automatically a critical. That is correct when using Cloud, yes. It's not automatically a critical just by pressing the button, but yes, if they are broken, it is a critical. That is with his 60 rework or something anyway.
I will mention that Cloud does have a critical rate up 3 buff now, I think, with finishing touch.
Yep.
So he's going to be critting most of the time, even if the enemy is not broken.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty significant all the time, and that does make his World of Illusion weapon fairly decent. But yeah, there's been a lot of hype around Cloud. He is really good. He's going to be really good here for a while, and most of the characters in Chaos who do have their EX realized are not going to fall off into obscurity. And even Cloud was probably usable here in the last couple months in Cosmos too. But, there will be other more powerful characters we will probably tend to use. So I don't think anybody needs to be afraid if they use Cloud ingots on Cloud. But there are other options if you don't want to. And one of those other options, his name is Vincent. And Kreese is going to talk about everything Vincent got because he got a lot of stuff.
Yeah, Vincent got a rework for a 7 or 60 Awakening. He got a 70 rework, and he got a new EX weapon, and he also got the ability to realize that EX weapon right out of the gate. So quickly, I want to touch on what changed with his rework. The important thing is that his basic kit did not change, it just got better. He gained an additional use of both of his abilities, Deadly Beast Flare and Live Wire Shot. They're both stronger, they deal more brave hits for each attack, and now they can brave overflow, which is really good. Along with this, they can become empowered versions that become even stronger and have more brave overflow if Vincent targets an enemy that has 3 or more debuffs active. As a reminder, Vincent, before any changes, could already inflict 4 debuffs between his 2 abilities, Deadly Beast Flare, applying fire resist down, and a pretty substantial initial brave down debuff, and Livewire Shot, applying a thunder resist down, and the strongest attack down debuff in the game. Along with that, he got pretty substantial changes to both of his crystal strength passes that improved his stats. They are now mostly permanent. One is his CS54 now just needs him to be buffed, which is most of the time. And instead of just giving him speed, it now gives him attack. His CS58 was improved to provide max brave and attack instead of just max brave when an enemy is debuffed. As part of his new awakening, his CS68, his crystal strength 68, is now a small party aura that raises party attack and max brave slightly. And Vincent's additional ability basically makes it so that he can extend the duration of any debuffs he inflicts for a few turns after activating it. Basically, it makes it more easy for him to apply his debuffs and keep them around, especially with that short attack down duration. Using his additional ability can help with that. If you extend it, it also applies a max Brave Overflow to the party for its duration. However, the big thing that Vincent got was an EX weapon, and along with that, the ability to realize that EX weapon. So at base, it is a single target, an attack that has Brave Overflow but deals 50% HP splash damage called Nightmare Shot. It also gives Vincent a new unique buff that raises his max Brave and also makes it so that he does more damage when attacking enemies that are debuffed. He also applies a new debuff that is framed, unique, and reduces enemy defense and sap in a single one. So this stacks with other defense downs and other sap applications. And if you MLB his EX weapon, he gets an HP attack plus, which is a single target Brave plus HP attack. Now, you have to realize his weapon, and if you realize his weapon, at 0 out of 3, he starts with his buffs active, everything except for his new unique buff from his EX weapon. If you limit break it once, he gets a max Brave up permanently. If you limit break it twice, both the EX ability, Nightmare Shot, and his HP attack plus become AoE Brave hits instead of just single target Brave hits. And if you fully limit break his realized EX weapon, it gets increased overflow on his EX. Not quite as flashy and not quite as strong as Cloud's bonuses per limit break for his realized weapon, but still pretty nice. One thing I forgot to mention, by the way, and I apologize for this, is that Nightmare Shot, his EX ability, does deal 50% HP splash damage to non-primary targets. And he will apply his debuff to all targets, even if they are not the one that he attacks directly. So keep that in mind. I think I got the basics of his kit, Mark. Was there anything I missed from his kit before I move on to pros and cons?
No. I will say that the additional ability, yeah, it basically is it does not increase the existing debuffs. It does not increase the length of the existing debuffs. It increases the lengths of debuffs you are about to inflict. So that is super helpful because some of his buffs are much, like you said, the attack, much shorter than other ones. So you can pop that on and basically save the number of base abilities you're using and then rely on HP and Brave Plus or his EX ability. So that it is a really nice AA. And his EX weapon's nice, although I'm not a big fan of the actual gun. It's kind of a dumb looking weapon, but I'm just hoping
it's
for
just
Cerberus.
A pistol, right?
Yeah, I'm hoping for Cerberus one of these days. So that will be his burst weapon. Anyway, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, let me continue on. So Vincent has some strengths and some weaknesses with his kit now. I mean, some of the strengths are the same strengths he's had for a long time. Number one, he applies very powerful debuffs. He has a very strong generic initial Brave down and a very strong generic attack down from his abilities, and he applies now a defense down thanks to his new EX debuff. Along with this, he AoE Brave shaves like a boss. He hits all targets, and he focuses his HP damage into a single target. So in cases where you need to focus down an enemy one at a time, but you need to break them all constantly, he's very good at that. And Vincent is great as an enabler of other elemental attackers because he inflicts fire and thunder resist down debuffs. So he makes characters like Lightning hit a lot harder if he's paired with them. That said, he does have some weaknesses. Vincent alone needs to rely on his ability to buff his own elemental damage and debuff the enemies to take more damage from his elemental attacks to do real damage. He is no Cloud. His attack stat is nowhere near as impressive, and he just won't hit as hard without that setup. He needs to get his debuffs up and going, and he needs to rely on them to do damage. Second thing is Vincent is ridiculously fast. He has high turn rate on both of his abilities, Deadly Beast Flare and Livewire Shot. He has some pretty strong speed passives, and because of that, he can steal turns like nobody's business. Like lightning meme turn stealing in some cases is what I've experienced since using him with his rework. I don't have his EX weapon, but I experimented with him since I do have his 15 and 35 CP. Considering he doesn't do a lot of damage necessarily with every turn, this can be an issue, and you might want to consider removing some of his speed crystal passives to reduce this issue a bit, but you're not going to reduce it all the way. He still has the high turn rate on his abilities. And third is that because Vincent is tied to 2 different elements, and chaos fights are going to very commonly for a while resist or be immune to multiple elements, it's very easy for Vincent to just get shut out of fights because they absorb either fire or thunder. And that's going to be a serious issue. He will not work in every battle going forward. You have to watch for that elemental concern. A couple things for potential party members that I discussed with Inkwelder ahead of time. Vincent wants a Brave Battery. His HP plus is a single Brave attack, and even though it becomes AoE if you limit break his realized EX weapon, it's still only a single Brave hit for each target. Since he only has 14 ability uses outside of his EX and additional ability, he needs to rely on that HP plus, and having a Brave Battery to supply him with Brave makes it so he's doing more damage each turn. Be careful pairing Vincent with other debuffers. For example, Tidus and Fang are both getting realized EX weapons, and they both apply their own 3 debuffs in the coming week. They will be pushing each other's debuffs off if you try to pair them with Vincent. A character who currently is live in the game is seeing use as Sarah. Sarah has 4 debuffs of her own, and with Vincent having his own 5, and there being only 6 buff slots on a target, they will be pushing them off a lot. One notable form of cheese that you can do is Charlotta and Vincent combined can result in reducing the enemy's initial Brave to 0%. Yep. If you use Charlotta's HP plus attack, and Vincent's initial Brave down generic, which means that enemies will come out of break at 0 Brave the same way they would if they were frozen by Setzer's freeze effect, which makes it very easy to re-break an enemy if it's at 0 Brave. That is very special, and you can do it with even a friend, Vincent, if you bring him into a fight for a short period of time. Future considerations for characters that Vincent might work with. Kryl exclusively deals thunder damage. She will be getting a rework with Leviathan. She can benefit substantially from Vincent's debuffs, and she can buff Vincent's damage because she applies an elemental damage up effect, or I think it's weakness damage up effect. So both of them can synergize with each other.
Oh, I was going to say Kryl specifically buffs elemental weakness. Oh, wait, no, sorry. I thought you were talking about the debuff one. My bad.
So yeah, basically there's a lot of pros to Vincent. There are also a lot of cons. He will not be useful for every single event in the future just because of the elemental concerns. Anything that even if it's immune to one of his elements, it just shuts him out too hard. So be careful.
I think he's been proven. There are videos of him doing the next couple of events too. Garland and Fang, I think, and also Justin, a solo rogue, says he just went to test it and confirmed Cloud's HP plus does dispel with the World of Illusion effect. So
okay, that was changed then. I didn't realize
that's very nice. So if you want to HP plus a broken target, that's a guaranteed dispel without using anything up. Cool. That's really nice.
That is very nice.
I will say I would have kept pulling for Vincent's EX weapon last night if I knew Fang was not coming in a few days and she was a favorite I was planning to invest in. It's just bad timing for him. He's very strong, but he's not quite as flashy as Cloud is right now. So I chose him instead.
I did keep pulling for Vincent, and did eventually get his EX weapon after quite a few tickets. It's great. I like it a lot. I have it realized I only have it at 0 MLB, and that's fine for now. So he does start with his enchants and everything else, and that gives him some longevity. The biggest issue with him, because I did run him through all of these fights, all of these heretics, and I ran him through the chaos as well. He just takes turns. And so I used Charlotta, Vincent, and Cloud with all of their boards, all their buffs, all that stuff, decent artifacts. His artifacts are not great. He's probably the weakest. He's 100% the weakest of those 3 artifacts. So I just had attack 108 artifacts for him, no perfect arts for him, which would probably be attack max brave. His ability artifacts are not as good.
I think I heard you can tell me what you think because you have the practical experience, Mark. I think I heard Max Brave is the preferred stat because if you're going to use him, you're going to use him in an environment where he can imperil and hit weakness damage all the time, and right. Get the debuff bonus. So like when you use him, he's going to cap. So you want Max Brave because he's hitting multiple targets for multiple hits. So yeah, you want him to cap as high as possible.
So his longevity is an issue in Chaos because he only has a fixed amount of ability uses 14 and his EX. So yes, with his abilities, he is capping. Of course, he was buffed. So you're gonna want attack as well. But mine just has attack. Mine does not have Max Brave. So mine was in synergy. Mine was maxing, capping, and overflowing. Very well, but he is very, 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 very fast, and he steals turns like crazy, especially if you have something with somebody in your party like Cloud, who is very, very, very slow. So you can burn through Vincent's abilities very fast, and that can cause you problems. So you do have to rely on his Brave Plus and his HP Plus, and if you're going back to back to back turns, that can be an issue as well.
I'll also mention that there are a couple people in chat asking about potential team synergies with Vincent, and I will point out that Vincent has similar problems that other fast characters have with those synergies. If they applied buffs to Vincent, he's going to burn through them usually faster than the rest of the party will burn through them, which means he'll have downtime on those buffs compared to other characters. Keep that in mind.
Which means you probably usually want to bring characters that their auras and buffs are centered on themselves rather than Vincent. There'll be more in the future, but like Payne's a great example. All of her buffs and auras are centered on herself. So no matter how many turns her fast teammates get, they'll always get it. So that's always something to keep into consideration, I guess. Oh, and Mark, I wanted to ask, you were talking about longevity. Do you think 3-3ing Vincent and getting his HP plus buff, which gives it an AoE Brave attack,
that's his
fix that? Could he rely on that? That's his
2-3.
Yeah.
So 2-3 is the AoE HP plus attack. 3-3 is additional overflow for his EX ability, I believe. So I think it is nice to 2-3 him if you're wanting to main Vincent, but I'm not sure that it's worth the investment right now. He does what he needs to do with his just base realized EX weapon.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of people saying in chat that there have been a lot of latent lag issues this stream. We apologize for that. Keep in mind that Mark is recording locally, so when this goes up on podcast services in the future, the lag will not be present.
Yeah, more incentive to increase our numbers of downloads and views on YouTube and podcast reviews.
The podcast is the most produced of all of the different venues and sounds the best by far.
Yeah, we love you guys on our live stream, but
yes, 100%.
Our focus is the podcast. Sorry, it is Crystal Chronicles podcast. So I know we always have some issues, but as long as the audio comes out 100% at the end of the day, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, so if you are in chat, just refresh and you should be able to pick it up fine. I think that's enough on Vincent. He's great. I like him. Kreese, do you want to... I used him.
I'm going to very quickly talk about Yang, Cypher, and Garnet. And by very briefly, I mean just talk about what their additional abilities do. Because really, they didn't get any changes. They're still the same characters. If you've used them before, they're doing the same thing now, except they have better stats to do it with. Yang's additional ability recovers kick uses. If you bloom it, he restores more, 3 instead of 1. And if you get his extension at Crystal Strength 70, then he gets a max Brave up buff for a few turns. Cypher's additional ability inflicts an enemy defense down debuff to all targets for a few turns. Bloom adds use and doubles the duration, and the extension adds a few turn damage boost to Cypher when he is attacking a debuff target. Garnet's additional ability leans into her support role. She gets a party max Brave up and Brave regen for a few turns. The Bloom adds another use and increases its duration, and the extension increases the effects. Note that Garnet also gets a small party aura with her Crystal Strength 68, slightly raising party initial Brave and max Brave once you equip it. But none of these characters are particularly strong right now. Garnet especially is feeling the weight of time and how old and outdated her kit is. So be careful about investing too much into them at the moment.
Yeah, don't invest anything in them. They are terrible. Hey, I did, thankfully, I'm excited to test it out because I did level 70 all of these characters already. I did get a full set of Yang's 35 CP, so now I have both of his weapons. So I'm excited to get some Yang action going on.
Mino, that reminds me. You said you wanted to defend Yang, and I told you in order to do it, you would have to complete the Cosmos event with Yang in the party.
Yeah.
Did you do it?
Shit. Okay, so honestly, I didn't have enough time. I beat the Chaos at noon today, and I got very little work done at work. So I will attempt it, and I will report back next week. I will attempt it, though. For sure. You reminded me. It completely slipped my mind. So thank you. I will try it because, we have some downtime until the event on Sunday, I believe.
Yeah. Vincent in chat is saying, I forgot Cypher existed. Yeah, so many of us too.
Hey, I use Cypher for the the heretics that aren't the Cosmos.
Yeah.
He did okay. He did all right.
Yeah, don't invest anything in them. My Garnet's fully kitted and fully leveled, and she's trash. Yeah, she's so bad. I can't wait for her EX realization and that beautiful animation with Alexander there. That's one of my favorite scenes in all Final Fantasy. That does bring us. Oh, do we want to go to the podcast polls?
I can summarize in like 2 sentences.
Yeah.
Everyone the vast majority wanted to pass on both banners. I don't blame you. I think most people either, if you're hardcore enough to do research on the game and listen to this podcast, most people probably have Cloud EX already. So no surprise that everyone wanted to pass on that. And also no surprise that everyone wanted to pass on the Garnet Dessel banner, because with a new tier here, very few people really want to pull outdated weapons. 0 pities on both banners reported. And obviously the Cloud Vincent one got a little more gem and ticket votes because some people do not have Cloud, and very few gems or tickets towards the Dessel Garnet banner. And I don't blame anybody because they're very outdated, and they're only going to get more outdated from here.
Yes. Star Shadow on Twitch says, starting this awakening wave off with a Yang mark ? Yeah, that's pretty good. But Polish Prince is defending Yang. So there's all kinds of Yang hype on Mino's side of things. He was very upset when I dismissed Yang earlier in our conversations this week.
Hey, no problem, Kreese. I'll come back with 3/3 Cloud and like Dessel, and I'll carry Yang through the contest.
Zyros,
easy. I think it can be done.
Zyros is
good to know that Yang can be carried by those characters at the moment.
Okay. So before we jump into the chaos thing, I want to say, in this kind of content, I think not everyone can be carried. So anyone you drag through the finish line to a complete deserves a lot of respect. Because can we just jump straight into chaos talk?
Well, I just wanted to say one thing. Zyros is reminding us that the EX tokens are expiring soon. So if you did not pick up your free EX make sure you do that soon, because that will be gone here in a few days. So make sure that you do get your EX. Do not forget it. We said wait till the stream, but the stream is over and you have...
There is 1 day left on the EX Power Token exchange.
So if you're live with us, get it. If you caught this tomorrow, which would be Friday in the United States on the 8th of November, you probably only have a few more hours to pick it up. So please get your free EX. Do not forget that you have it sitting there if you did not pick it up. So yeah, right into Chaos. How was Chaos? What is Chaos?
All right, I want to try this. I thought up of a format. So we'll just cover each wave, each mechanic, and then we'll go over how we tackled it. Because if there's a little variation, we'll cover it. If not, but I feel like this is an effective way. So let's test this out. So for example, Chaos this time was 3 waves. The first wave were double floating eyes. And I believe their main gimmick was they usually do the single target Brave Attack. I think they have an AoE Brave Attack as well. And like most of the floating eyes, their gimmick is the longer the fight goes on and the lower their HP gets, they start giving themselves invisible buffs that increase their speed and magic attack, correct?
Oh, Mino, before we go into each of the individual waves,
Sure.
Let's talk about things that are true for all the waves. For example, all 3 waves are extra resistant to magic, and they are all absorb ice and holy element.
So don't bring
extra resistance means because I think this is the first time we're getting it, right? High resistance.
No, we've seen extra resistance before.
We've seen it. Yep.
Oh, okay, and I believe it's 10% damage done, or is it like a 90% reduction to the damage?
It's bad. Yeah.
Yeah. It's 90% reduction.
Don't bring Shiva like I did the first time going into this event, and then pop Shiva and do 2 meteor rains to realize that you just healed both the bosses. So yeah, they absorb ice, so don't bring Shiva. That's my one takeaway from this.
Okay, now we can go into the individual waves. Sorry to cut you off, Mino. Yeah. The Tear's Eye first wave does do a lot of water element attacks, mostly single target, but some AoE attacks. They buff themselves with generic buffs. They get framed buffs. One of the notable things they can do is they can inflict defense down, and with their attack as high as it is, that is actually impactful if they get that off.
Yeah.
Right. I think the main gimmick here is a steadily increasing attack and speed, a steadily increasing onslaught of attacks. So basically, I guess you either want to burst this fast or find some way to bypass that. For me, this seemed like the tankiest wave.
I was going to say this seemed like this took the most turns.
Yes, 30-something turns.
This is the wave where I saw Warrior of Light hitting for the triple digits with some of his bravery.
Yeah, because they start getting that defense up. So again, I think this is a very good introduction into Chaos. I know Jay early reports on Chaos was that it was brutal, but I think this is a very good introduction. We talked about how Cloud was a great introduction to EX Plus. I think these 3 fights show elements of Chaos going forward. This one is that the longer the fight goes on, the more difficult it gets. So you really want to speed through this as efficiently as possible, this first wave. Extremely long. Took me and Mark the longest. Crease 2 probably. 30-something turns for us. And the only gimmick was that the longer you stalled on it, because some people do like to stall. For example, like if you're running a longevity character like Porum or Ramza, both of which I've seen completes for, some people want to wait for their ramp up. I'll shout, wait 8 turns, and then do the shout again. I'll get HP plus on turn 27 of Ramza's. No, this is, you need to find the right pacing to go fast. For me, it was I ran Ramza, Cloud, Warrior of Light. I spent a lot of abilities on one, probably more than the other waves. And I ramped up Ramza ASAP, 3 shouts off the bat. And so I just tried to speed through this as fast as possible. What did you guys do? Mark?
I was probably most conservative on this wave. So that's probably why it seemed like the most tankiest, because I didn't use my friend, I didn't use my summon, and I pretty much only used a couple abilities for each of my characters. I brought Cloud, Vincent, and Charlotta as my Chaos Complete team. But I just kind of went at one at a time and kept them debuffed. With Vincent's debuffs, they weren't doing anything. They're just mostly annoying because they had HP that was and defense that was high. So it just kind of one by one took some time to take them down for me.
Yeah, to add to that, I think this is the least threatening wave because as
Yeah,
long
it
as
was
you
not
kept them
threatening.
broken,
Yep.
yeah, as long as you kept them broken, they're not really a threat.
And
Kreese, did you have anything to? Oh, sorry, Mark.
as Kreese already said, with Charlotta and Vincent, they're not coming out of break and doing any damage. So yeah, you just keep them broken and it's fine.
Kreese, did you do anything different from us?
I generally took my time with this wave. I did not use any of Charlotta's Create Crystal ability uses this wave. I saved them for waves 2 and 3. So this was probably the longest wave for me too. I didn't pay attention too much to my turn count, but one thing I tried to do was strategize my paralyze procs so that I would delay their buffs, the buffs they gave each other, as long as possible. I think I delayed it 2 turns before they were able to get them off, and by that time, one of them was already dead or nearly dead, and the other one was at half health or something. So I was able to delay the danger of them buffing themselves for quite a ways.
All right, so pretty straightforward. Then we enter wave two, which is Double Hill Wyverns, which are Kane's boss, and their gimmick is that they have burst periods. Um, they buff themselves for like 3 turns. Big buffs where they start, spamming debuffs and AOE Brave plus HP attacks, and so they're very dangerous when they're in their burst state, but not so threatening outside of it. There's conflicting reports whether people summon friend or use their summon here. I was one of the ones who wanted to play it safe, and I summoned on wave 2. So I just started attacking them. They were less tanky than wave 1. As soon as they started targeting themselves, I summoned. I killed one, and then I used Warrior of Light to kind of stall out the other one till his buffs fell off, and then finish killing him. And like Kreese said, utilizing some of Cloud's paralyzes here to kind of delay their burst state. Mark, did you do anything different?
I summoned and brought in my friend Cloud, and I killed them very quickly. This was by far the easiest.
My strategy was pretty much the same as Mino's. I took my time with this wave. I used my Ramu summon as soon as I saw that they were about to go into their self-buff phase. I delayed along with that with a couple of paralyzed procs and tried to get one down before it was too dangerous. Otherwise, just took my time and was patient and saved my friend's summon for the last wave.
I did not like taking my time here because their debuffs were pushing off a lot of my buffs, and my team in particular relied on a lot of buffs. So entering wave 3, the final wave, you get 2 guard scorpions, and they also have a burst phase of a sort where after a while, I think for 3 to 5 consecutive turns, they just do AoE HP attacks back to back to back. And it is terrible if you aren't running a healer. So I wish I had a lot of people summoned and used their friend here for a quick kill. And I think if I redid it, I would do it here too, because this is the wave with the biggest threat of HP attacks. And what I did was I gamed the paralyze a bit to keep. Once I saw whoever was starting the all attacks, I delayed and paralyzed them as much as possible, killed them, summoned friend, used a 3/3 cloud to meteor rain, destroy the other one really quick. Mark, anything different?
No, I didn't have any issue with them. So yeah, I didn't see that they were really a problem at all. And I didn't get that into that issue. Yeah. Yeah, so no, I mean I didn't get into that HP AoE attack phase, so they must have died before that. So
What? You lucky bat. I wish I had a
I
victory
actually
cloud.
avoided that AoE HP
yeah.
phase too.
Sons of bitches.
I think that has to do with Charlotta and the Saps. They were much less prone to do the HP attacks, and the few times they pulled it off, they couldn't generate any brave because of Warrior Light shields. And Charlotta's Sap kept them at low brave, so I think they did get 1 HP attack off, but it did 0 damage.
Oh, well, so you guys are lucky, but for the normies,
I will
like,
mention
oh,
that
go
I
ahead.
used my Cloud friend to actually paralyze Proc 1 when
Oh,
I
yeah,
knew
yeah.
I was going to guarantee it, and I knew that they were about to do a big hit, and then I killed them before he could actually do anything.
Mhm. So I guess if you have enough power, if you save summon for this, you could probably bypass that easy. But for those like me who did not have that luxury, burning one and then quickly burning the other worked for me. Um, if you're fast enough, Warrior of Light can heal enough. I had a few resets where I always came within everything except the HP requirement, and I needed to time the Warrior of Light's EX well enough to actually meet the HP requirement. But other than that, I guess that's our strat. And looks like we're having some stream trouble. Are we okay? Are we good on fixing that, Mark?
Yeah, no, just keep going.
Okay, sure. We'll keep going. So anything else to add to that fight specific strategy wise, or I think we're covered, right?
Dark Knight Cecil and Cloud are definitely the MVPs
Oh
from
no,
what we're
yeah.
hearing. If you
Yeah.
have one or the other, you're gonna be doing okay. If you have both, you're gonna think this is a joke. If you're like Mark and you have Vincent and Cloud, you'll probably get through okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say if we're going straight to the so I'm expecting this event to actually be very restricting because I think the JP players I was talking to say everyone's using some combination of Cloud, Charlotta, Warrior of Light, Ramza, or shoot, who was the fifth? Oh, or Dessel. They said everyone's using a combination of that five. They're like, if you can find us people who didn't use those five,
Which
then
5? Sorry.
oh, Warrior of Light, Cloud, Dessel, Charlotta, and Ramza.
Oh yeah, at least 2 of them I think are in every team complete I'm seeing posted so far.
Mm-hmm. And I'm saying like first of all, there are so many people. Well, okay, so they said that if you can find any exception to that rule, it is very impressive, and we do have some exceptions out there. But of course, it seems like Cloud 3-3 and Dessel, at least one or the other. Like Macnell said there has only been one submission so far to the Call to Arms without Cloud, but it has a Dessel in it, and it seems like I think this event's going to be extremely restricting. And I want to echo something because I saw this in our stream chat while we were covering the other things. But a lot of people were coming in saying, "Oh, chaos is so easy. I don't know what all the the fuss was about. Like JP players are babies because I was able to clear chaos so fast." And it's oh my god. Like first of all, we have to remember GL has 9 months of foresight. We planned, we knew who would be good for this. So I think a lot of people coming out here and bragging and bashing the JP players, it's really uncalled for. Not only that, but on Facebook and Discord, I've seen so many people post their result screens and say, chaos is easy, dead game. And when they post those result screens, they'll have like 79 out of 80 turns running Cloud, 3-3 Cloud, Warrior of Light, and Charlotta, all fully boarded with good AFs and like 10,000 damage taken. And it's kind of like, come on, with the most meta team possible, you barely skirted under a complete, and you're gonna say it was easy? Like that's pretty disgusting. And I'm looking forward to the Call to Arms to see how bad this because I feel like it's really bad, right, Crease? Like, do you think?
Looking at the Call to Arms thread so far and what Macnell's collated from the first few hours, it says 14 unique characters used, but I think that's counting the different limit breaks of the EX plus weapons as separate characters at the moment. looking at the list, it's really only about 7 real different characters that are unique. I mean, as you said, I'm seeing a lot of Warrior Light, a lot of Dark Knight Cecil, a lot of Charlotta, a lot of Ramza, and a lot of Cloud, and some Vincent.
Right. I was gonna say they're right. There is no run without one of those five. Let's be honest. They say Cloud 3/3 and Dessel can completely carry, but without those, you're gonna need some combination of Warrior Light Charlotta or Ramza Warrior of Light or something like that, right? Like two of the five characters. Like I
Oh
feel
yeah,
like
definitely.
it's extremely limiting, and people are. I mean, like you got a lot of jerks here. Like on main court it's pretty split. There's a lot of people who cleared it with the most meta team possible, and they're saying like this is so easy, why are you guys having trouble? Like this is the Agrius event all over again. Like this amount of privilege, they not realize like like can you try doing this without some of the mandatory characters and seeing how bad it is? But on that note, there have been some surprising GL clears. We've gotten even though some of these are accompanied with either a Dessel, a Cloud 3/3, or two of the other five that we talked about, we've seen some Lion clears. We've seen some a Vayne clear. I've seen an Aerith clear. There's a Sync clear out there. Porum clears. There is a good amount of variety that we're finding. I even saw a Leon clear. It's pretty impressive. But
I want to say that I think a lot of this, and the reason we're seeing such a laser focus on so few characters, is Chaos was hyped so much as being this terrifying evil thing that's going to crush souls, and unless you have these characters, you are not going to make it through. So a lot of players clear based on that recommendation, laser focused on at least a few of those characters, so they knew they'd be
yeah,
able to get through
exactly.
Chaos.
Yeah.
That's what I did. I went in saying, okay, I got Warrior of Light, I got Charlotta, I got Cloud, and I have Ramza sitting on the side ready to come in if needed.
Yeah, I
have
knew
them
my
fully
team.
summon boarded because we were told ahead of time summon
Yeah.
boards matter.
Yeah.
We have good artifacts because we were told artifacts will matter. So we actually put the investment in ahead of time, knowing it would pay out in the end.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Chris. I think the preparation that we had going into it probably helped ease the pain a little bit. Going into a whole new difficulty tier with, can you imagine just waking up one day, oh, a new level of difficulty, and then just be, whoa, what's
right,
going,
exactly. They announced this in JP like 2 to 3 days before it dropped. Like it was anniversary. So imagine at the end of the month, we know the stream always comes on the last Monday of the month. Imagine the stream coming and it says, hey guys, it's anniversary. We're going to be introducing EX Plus and Chaos. And then the patch hits tomorrow, the next day. Like, come on. How are you supposed to know what characters are going to last? And going into this event, I knew exactly the team I was going to field for it. So GL foresight is not to be underestimated. But to recap, because I know the stream cut out for a bit, everyone, please go listen to the audio podcast. It'll be uninterrupted. Right, Mark? You didn't. The recording's uninterrupted?
The recording is uninterrupted. Yep.
The recording is uninterrupted. Please go back and listen to the podcast. I promise, guys, this isn't a ploy. This isn't a marketing ploy. Like, please go listen to the audio version. It'll have everything there. But to recap really quick for the stream is that there are certain people in the communities that are saying Chaos is so easy. They're bragging about what a pushover Chaos is, but we had so much time to plan, and all these people saying that are using the most meta team possible and barely skirting under the requirements. So is that really worth bragging for? And in case this got cut off as well, it seems like this will be an extremely restrictive event because people are saying you need to have these five characters are seen in every team: Cloud, Dessel, Warrior of Light, Charlotta, and Ramza. Some teams can have a 3/3 Cloud or a Dessel carry two characters that aren't part of that, but others need a Warrior of Light and Charlotta pairing to carry somebody, or a Warrior of Light and Ramza pairing to carry somebody. These are extremely, extremely, extremely limiting event. It is not an easy event. That is just bias all the way. Macnell said in his current call to arms submissions, please guys keep submitting, but there's only one complete that does not have Cloud, and it has a Decil carry. So everyone's relying hard. It's like the Agrius event all over again. Everyone needed Agrius or Ferris. So like this is not an easy event. It is not nice to go on the main court and brag about how easy it is because you plan 9 months in advance to have Warrior of Light, Charlotta, and freaking Cloud or something. Like, how were JP players supposed to know that when it was announced a day before their patch? So and if you're skirting by 78, 79 turns using that team, it is not that impressive. Sorry.
Yeah, that's what you get for playing beta. You know you don't get that uptime. You got to take
Oh.
the ups with the downs.
Oh, I got a retort from JP. They're saying, "Oh, it looks like we started out with 3 more ingots than you guys and more books. So I guess beta got rewards for playing beta."
Yep. Guess they needed them. Because we're all fine without them. So, and remember, as we've said before, you can always go back. This content's going to be out for a while. These Heretics is 2 weeks. There's going to be other characters coming out in the next 2 weeks. There are 12 realizations this month alone. And so we've got 2 of them. So there's going to be other characters you're going to bring back and complete this content if you have not already done it. So don't feel like you have to, 3-3 Cloud today. The content's going to be there a while. Remember, you can just clear it and get the rewards, and then the complete is just a little semi-additional rewards. So don't feel too overwhelmed, and don't let it hurt your love of the game. But certainly, we all felt like we needed to get on there and do it for the show, and we did, and it wasn't too painful. It took Mino 4 or 5 times, but Kreese and I did it in one time easily enough. And so I think we can all probably live through this era called Cosmos. And I think Kreese made a great point. We did have the foresight, and we did have the ability to prepare. So, all right, gentlemen, anything else about the Chaos event?
I think we've hit everything. A couple things to mention is that there is a beatback challenge involving the co-op events right now that is based on gold tokens earned by the community. They will be continuing for a little while. I think we've already gotten a good chunk of the rewards already. There is an EX difficulty and a Cosmos difficulty for this Heretic. I've done the Cosmos a little bit. I've done a lot of the EX just because it's fast and easy when I don't want to sit there for a few minutes work grinding it out. But the Cosmos is pretty straightforward too.
Raw Life was asking, if you brought Charlotta, how do you manage her low ability count? The same way you manage Cloud's low ability count, Vincent's low ability count. You use HP plus and Brave plus.
Yeah, you use a lot of HP
Yep.
plus with Charlotta and some Brave pluses where necessary.
If you remember going back in time when we originally got level 100 fights, the EX fights, we were using, with level 50 characters, we were not using HP plus Brave plus. We were literally using regular Brave attacks and regular HP attacks. And some of those fights early on, just listening back to old podcasts, were like 100-turn battles. So I mean, it's not like this is the first time there's been this power creep that we've had to deal with. I mean, that's just been consistent. I just think Cosmos was one of the easier. But yeah, you have to learn how to kind of space the characters' abilities out, certainly. And some of those characters, like Charlotta, she only has a few uses of that really good HP attack, so you kind of have to save them for the right times, and kind of use out her other abilities in a way that's just going to be helpful, and rely on her Brave generation and her HP attack. Yeah.
For the sake of time, let's move on to a couple of host discussion points that we wanted to cover.
Yeah.
Mino, do you want to pick up a couple questions for us to cover?
Yeah, I was going over this really quick. We have about 30 minutes left. We have a lot of great questions. There are a lot of people had a lot of questions as soon as EX Plus era hit. I'll try to keep to the most relevant ones and the ones we can answer quickly to cover ground. We did say, unfortunately, I don't know if we have time for this. I got some messages throughout the week asking us to go very in depth to explain the Books and Ingot system, because apparently that's not clear to everybody just reading the in-game notices. I don't know if we can cover that this episode, guys. I'm sorry, we're running out of time. I think I was planning on it, but I think a very quick summary, and then Kreese and Mark can add on to that if they want, is that we're getting rewards now. 20 pages equals a book. There are red books for weapons, blue books for armor. Once you need the book to take it to the next level of power creep, which is the plus. So EX plus weapons or 90 CP plus armor. Once you plus it, you get a free ingot. And then the ingot is needed for the LB instead of power orbs now. 3 LBs, each one with big jumps. And then we're also getting nuggets throughout events, 20 nuggets, red and blue, equal the corresponding ingot to level up a weapon or armor. I promise if we have time in the future, we'll go more in depth. Looks like this system, not everybody understands the system, and it deserves some time dedicated to it. But Kreese and Mark, as a quick summary, is there anything I missed?
A quick thing to note is that if you go to the general enhancements tab where you can do crystal strength boosts, level up your character, summon board stuff, enhance weapons and armor, there's a new button there called Refine. If you go to that, you can convert the nuggets and the pages into the books and ingots once you have enough of them. So that's where you can check how many nuggets you have, how many pages you have, and also how many books and ingots you have of each type. Once you have 20, it costs some gil, and you can refine it into the book if it's pages, or the ingot if it is nuggets. So that is where you go to make these items you need for the EX plus armor and weapons.
Anything to add to that, Mark?
It does cost gil, correct? So if you are a newer player,
A lot of gil.
May cost more. I mean, it's not something that those of us who have been playing a while are worried about, but if you are a newer player, that may cost you some gil and some runs through the Golden Cactuar stage.
Last thing to notice, and then we'll segue into our first question, is that when you max limit break an EX plus weapon, you're going to get a sphere, which is an additional ability that you can slot. They're categorized by A, B, C, D. A, spheres always boost your offense. B, boosts your defense. C, boosts. Let me check my notes really quick. I believe C is buffs. Got it right here. Okay. C is recovery, healing, brave battery or healing. D is buffs, and E is debuffs. If you look at your characters now, they have these 3 sphere slots labeled A, B, C, D, or E. So you can see what characters are focused on. For example, certain characters are AAA, which means they're pure offense, and what you can put into them. When you MLB armor, you unlock an extra slot. Right now, all characters by default have 2 sphere slots open, and by MLBing the armor, you open up the 3rd slot. And that brings us to our first user question, which is, the sphere system seems like a really cool customization system, but the resources to make the sphere seem to be quite large compared to the benefit of the sphere, because to get the sphere, you need to full on MLB an EX plus weapon. By default, at a minimum, we're going to get about, if you can do everything, I believe it's 6 ingots a month and 6 books a month. Something like, oh shit, where's that ballpark?
Should we get more books than ingots? Oh wait, but then you use the books.
Right. Yeah.
You get ingots. Gotcha.
Yep.
So basically, does anyone have the planner in front of them? Hang on.
I don't have the planner in front of me.
No, that's right. Around 6. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
We think.
So let's say
not sure.
roughly 6 ingots to MLB 2 EX plus weapons, and to get that, you need to use all your books. And to use your books, they're only going to awaken about 6 to 8 weapons a month. So
12.
you have to have the right
It's going to be
weapon.
closer to 8 to
12.
12.
Yeah,
12.
yeah, yeah. You have to have the right selection of weapons to get all the ingots for that month, which I think most players will not be able to access. Not everyone's that lucky have enough to spend all your books in a month. And so there's several questions related to this. So they're saying spheres seem like a great customization and a great mechanic, but it seems like the investment required outweighs the benefit they provide. Um,
I think the sphere situation right now is ignore it. Pretend pretend
The
like it's
sphere
not part of
situation
the
is an
game.
elixir situation.
Yeah.
They are one-time use items that cost a lot to get, and once you use them, they are gone. So
Yeah.
if you make a mistake, you screwed up.
Yeah, just and even in Japan, they don't have a lot of them. They may introduce a different way to get some more or do some things down the future. They have not yet done that in the Japanese version of the game. So right now, besides a few spheres that are really good for characters, I'm just gonna ignore it. I mean, yeah, I mean just it's there. You know, maybe I'll throw a sphere. I don't think you need to worry about it. If you throw that critical one on Cloud, great. I don't think it's going to change anything. It's not going to make him better or worse. I don't think you're going to regret it. Like, oh, I wish I would have saved that for somebody else, or I wish I wouldn't have put it on Cloud. I think if you look at the Japanese players, in at least in the global arena, most of them don't have any of them equipped. So,
right.
you know, but
So I mean,
there
like,
are some
yeah.
ones that are really good and do will help your characters. And CSDX is saying give spheres to your favorites. Yeah, I don't think it's a big enough thing to worry about it too much.
Um, to finish the question, though, I think we addressed it. I didn't even finish reading through the question. But the question was basically like, what do you think of this customization system? And do you think they implemented it poorly because um, in 9 months in the future, it still isn't like they still haven't come up with a solution for it? And, like, do you think they missed their mark when implementing this? As Mark said, there are plenty of JP players who have used zero spheres and completed all content. So very unnecessary. It's hard to say what they'll do in the future. They said they're going to make them more readily available. But I think the question here is, do you think they missed the mark? And do you have a suggestion of how they could have improved this in
Yeah,
this 9 month period?
yeah, it would have
They
been.
definitely missed the mark. I think all of us agree on that. And I think one way they could have fixed that was by making it so you could actually remove the spheres from characters after they're slotted in, maybe put some cost associated with it so it's not something that you can do on a whim, but a way you can retrieve the sphere and use it on a character in the future instead of it just being gone.
Well, I think they also just could have given us more spheres, and every time you use an ingot on a EX weapon, you get a sphere. So it's not just to MLB it, but it's every single ingot is a new sphere, and maybe it's there's three different spheres for every EX, and some of them are repeats. Yeah, who cares? There's only so many things you're going to want. So, but yeah, at this point, they're so rare. The number of fully limit broke realizations you're going to have is so rare that the ones that are really good are probably going to be good on that character. So you're just going to throw it on that character, or you're not going to do anything with it because someday there's going to be some great character that you're going to definitely want it on. And we do have the foresight, so maybe we can say that, oh yeah, Vanille's is really good, and it's really going to be good on Rosa, for example. I'm just making stuff up. Don't do that. But like looking ahead, we could probably plan. Oh, this person is really good. I'm planning to fully limit break them, fully realize their EX, and oh, I'm going to get this sphere, and this sphere is going to be really good on this person. So we do have the foresight to be able to do that, where Japan didn't.
To throw more confusion. You okay over there, Mark? Are
No,
you?
I'm just having a stroke.
Oh, okay. um, to throw more confusion, the carefree side of me says spheres have been proven to be extra commodity in the next 9 months. So use them however you see fit. You really can't go wrong with using the sphere on their own character. They're usually made to complement the character. Just have fun with it. The paranoid side of me says, now that they're talking about revamping the sphere system, let's see, let's see what they do. I think I might be on the team of hoarding them for a little bit until we see what JP has planned for them. But either way, do what you will. Know that you won't miss out too much in the next 9 months, no matter what you do. The next question we have here is there's been a bit of discussion about which EX Plus weapons should you invest in and how many ingots you should invest in them, but almost no discussion about which armors are worth using books on. How should we decide which armor pieces to plus?
That's easy.
Yeah.
Figure out who needs the CP.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's easy.
I was going to say that's a 2-sentence answer. It's
Yeah.
exactly what Chris said. Either do you need the CP, and is it adding an important stat, one of their top 2 stats, like attack, max, brave, and brave, depending on the character? That's
they do get a new bonus with their realized armor, just as they do with their realized EX. So the realized armors do give additional bonuses. Clouds does give attack. I mean, it's a nice bonus. But Cloud's got 6 weapons. You need that CP for Cloud. And remember, every time you realize an EX, you then have to equip the regular EX ability, which is 20 more CP. So, and if you realize the armor, you have to equip that armor ability. So yeah, you're going to use armor realizations on characters that you realize their weapons and characters you have all their gear for and good artifacts and all the summoning boards. Remember, we only have 3 boards. There's 8 in Japan. So you're going to need more CP. Just realize you're going to need more CP. Always.
Anything to add, Chris?
I was also going to mention that the resources for the armor realizations are supposed to come much more readily and much more frequently than the weapon realizations, so it's not quite as restrictive. You'll be able to make more ingots, you'll be able to get more books to armor realize.
All right, and that leads and I mean Star Shadow saying don't forget L being your armor plus gains more defense, which leads us to our next question. What should SE do about the defense stat in this game? It's rarely seen as a desire. It's probably the least desirable main stat. And many of our existing tanks also do not make use of that stat either because they are moving on to brave damage reduction or HP damage reduction. So, I don't think you should be plussing armor for defense. It might make a difference, but looking at the damage formula, a very, very shorthand way is to say each defense is 1 brave damage less when you take a hit. So 1,000 more defense may sound like a lot, but you're just taking 1,000 less damage. The question is that really ever going to make a difference? For some characters, I don't know. It's up to you, but use that information. And I think they need abilities to scale off defense. Halfway through the Chaos era, they started having abilities that scale off max HP, which I thought was really good. Ignis's battery scales off max HP. There are other people whose brave gain or brave refunds scale off max HP. They need things to scale off of defense. It is not so far-fetched. In a lot of other RPGs, there are tanks whose damage scales off defense. Like, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, it's been years since I played WoW, but I'm pretty sure some of the tanks convert some of that defense into damage.
It's been changed pretty substantially in more recent years.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's an idea. Snow could do more damage on the defense or whatever. But do you guys have any answer to that question?
They could change the formula for defense and how it impacts damage taken, but that's a pretty substantial change, and it would probably screw up the game so substantially that it's not worth the effort. Defense gains are not insignificant if you're bringing someone who actually can boost party defense with a passive aura or a buff, such as Beatrix or Paladin CISO. Those have made differences for me in the EX era, at least. I haven't really experimented with it in the Cosmos era as much, but they do things. They're not insignificant. They're not huge, though.
All right. Well, let's end that here. I got an echo here, but let's end the questions. You can always ask your questions on our Discord. We do have a channel for asking questions, and we do like to get to them on the show. So feel free to ask your questions in our Discord channel, and we will see if we can talk about them on the show. Looking ahead, we have Fangs LC, Fangs of Promise, on the 10th. Garland's Event, Cycle of Battle on the 13th. Leviathan, Ultimate Challenge, Ultimate Summon Boards on the 17th. Deuce LC, Gentle Strength on the 25th. And Ultimecia Event on the 28th. A lot of stuff coming up. Chaos for all of those events that we will talk about here. I want to thank everybody on Twitch. We had a kind of weird stream with just the stream up and down and up and down. Nothing you can do about that some nights. So thank you all for joining us and staying on. Remember, we do record every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. That is a time change for those of you who are not on Daylight Savings Time. So make sure you know what time that is in your time zone. You can join us on Discord. You can join us on Facebook, Twitter, on Twitch, on YouTube. Of course, you can listen to our podcast on all of your favorite podcast apps. The information for all of that can be found at tccpodcast.com, www.tccpodcast.com, and you can listen to all the episodes right there. There are 75 of them. Number 76 will be out tomorrow morning, and that is what you're listening to. So for myself, Mark, for Mino Spellgood, for Kreese, aka Sarink, whew, that was a lot of AKAs, aka. This has been episode 76 of the Crystal Chronicles, your Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia podcast. We thank you all for joining us. Goodbye. Good luck.